Happy Friday. Happy Friday. You are listening to the She Radio Show on Awesome Radio. I am your host, Whitney J. It is Friday, April 16th, 2021. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are tuning in on the Awesome God Radio app, thank you so much. If you have not downloaded the Awesome God Radio app and followed Awesome God Radio on all social media platforms, listen, you better do it. Also, go to stellarawards.com. Listen, we are there. Nominate us for a step, or vote for us rather, for a Stellar Award. We are so just in awe of what God is doing here at Awesome God Radio. So listen, you want to definitely get connected. If you are tuning in on my YouTube channel, thank you so much. If you have not already, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Whitney Hogan's. And last but never least, are tuning in on Facebook Live. Thank you so much. Hit the like button, leave a comment, and share it to your page. I am just super excited to be with you guys here today. I'm just so thankful that you take time to hang with me every Friday just to talk about all of She Heals business, right? And so we have an amazing woman of God that is going to be joining us in the second half of the show, Summer Theodore. Her line, Jesus Be Known. Look, I got my shirt on, y'all, is absolutely incredible. You will love it. You need to support it. You can look right on your screen. If you go to her website, which is jesusbeknown.com, you can, if you use the discount code She Heals, you will get 15% off of all orders, $25 and up. And that ends on Sunday at night. So you kind of need to do it now. Hey, Greg, I love you. Just love to all my family and my friends. So listen, y'all, let's hop into the She Heals inspiration segment. I want to talk to you about the grace to fail. I want to talk to you about the grace to fail. And so I know that might sound like a little crazy, like who wants, hey Nelson, love you, honey. Who wants to fail, right? Nobody wants to fail. Nobody, wakes up and says, you know what, my life's dream is to not be successful, right? Nobody does that, right? That's just not realistic. Well, here's the thing though. The reality is failure happens, right? Failure happens. And we need to know how to have the grace to fail. And what does that even mean? I think that the first part of it is just understanding that everything is not going to work out all the time. And sometimes failure is a part of life. And it's a part of our lives for many reasons. Sometimes it is God's divine protection. Maybe you really, really, really wanted that job and you didn't get that job. You may feel like a failure for not getting that job, but maybe in hindsight, you look and you say, wow, God protected me because I had this situation over here for me that was better for me. And so maybe failure in that way. Maybe there was a lesson that you needed to know that was learned through the process of that particular failure. So there's always something. Sometimes, I know this might sound a little harsh, but sometimes we fail because we didn't do our part. So you can't say, oh God, the enemy is messing with me because I failed my math test if you never studied for said math test. Right? We have our own part of it as well. But, it's one of those things that sometimes the fear of failing, it stops us from even trying. How many of us have said, you know something? I ain't even going to try it. I'm not good at that. So, I'm not good at math. I'm not good at singing. I'm not good at, writing. So I'm not even going to bother to try. I'm not even going to bother to try because you know what? What's the point? That negative self-talk, right? That fear of failing. God. Many of us are scared to fail because we have not had gracious encounters with failing. So what that means is, maybe I'm afraid to let my family know that I didn't pass that test because I know the judgment is going to be so heavy. I know that, it's unacceptable to not pass. And so that fear and that pressure and not having a gracious space for failure really binds us. And sometimes it keeps us from our destiny. Because in order to get to where you need to go, it is highly likely that there will be some ebbs and flows. It's highly likely that there will be some failure that comes along. So it's not the if I'm going to experience failure, it's the when am I going to experience it? And it's how am I going to experience it? How am I going to respond to the failure? A lot of times when we fail, we feel guilt, we feel shame, we feel embarrassment. Have you ever failed at something and you felt those things? I have. It hurts. You look and you're like, for me, when I fail at something, I tend to be really hard on myself. And I might say something like, I should have known better. I've been in this situation before. I should have handled it this way, or I never have grace for myself. I never have grace for the moment. I am just all beating myself up, beating myself up, beating myself up. And here is the, the perfectionist spirit is real, right? That's my struggle. And so the moment that I step outside of anything that is in what my perception of perfection is, the guilt and the shame and the grief and all the things that come with it can be also consuming. It can be overwhelming, but there is grace for failure because we serve a God that's grace is sufficient for us. His word says clearly, 2 Corinthians 12:9, my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in your weakness. So actually, at our point of failure is actually at the exact point that we need to be, because God is right there, because his power is made perfect in our weakness. So even when we feel that we don't measure up, or we've experienced a failure, his power is made perfect in our weakness. I was watching this live that Sarah Jakes Roberts did earlier this weekend. I don't know if you follow her on Instagram, but you should, because she is a powerhouse for God. And I love her. And she was talking about feeling inadequate. And she said that, when the moment that you are dealing with an inadequacy, you're in the perfect position for God's grace, right? And I was thinking about that. And I was thinking about, sorry, I'm having my hair keeps itching me. I was thinking about that, and I was struggling this week. This has been a very emotionally draining week for me, for a lot of things. As a Black woman raising 2 Black boys, everything that's happening in our country has been draining for me this week. On top of that, as a young widow who's been a widow for the last 8, almost 9 years, my wedding anniversary is this weekend, this Sunday. And just thinking about the fact that, oh gosh, I'm 34 years old and I've been a widow for 9 years. I've been a widow since I was 25. And Lord, I'm at peace with knowing that my late husband's time on this earth was complete. It's been almost 9 years. So I'm at peace with that. I still miss him. I still honor him, but I recognize that I'm not even the same person then, and that I am still here, and I have to keep living. And as it relates to failure this week, I really was struggling because I felt like, God, I've thrived in so many areas. And this is like super transparent. This is real talk, y'all. Can we be honest with each other? Can I be really candidly vulnerable with me for a second? I have been widowed for so long, for 9 years. It'll be 9 years this summer. And I have thrived in so many areas the things that God has done has been absolutely amazing. Finishing degrees and buying a home and writing a book and starting a publishing company, I could tell you all these amazing areas in my life where I have thrived and God has moved, and it's been glorious and beautiful, and just, you would just be shouting. But there are areas of my life that hasn't. And if there was one area of my life that I have failed multiple times, it would be in the area of love and loving again post loss. And, as a young widow, it's not that you're ever trying to replace the person that you love, because that's not even possible, but it is okay. I fulfilled my duties as his wife. I've honored my vows. I owe nothing to anybody here. I'm still living, and it's okay to want to love again, and it's okay to want to be married again, and those kind of things. And so I found myself, I'm 9 years in on this journey, and about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I, really started to the desire to love again and to even attempt to date again, was all present after years of therapy and kind of getting things to just kind of moving forward. And I was in a new space in my life, and that was okay. And I have failed repeatedly in this area. That's it. There's no but God. That's a complete sentence. I have failed. I have not been ready. I have not healed in certain areas of my life, and that, impacted, how I chose to approach people. I realized that what I was looking for the blueprint that my late husband, showed me. Yet, that was the blueprint for him, and not the blueprint for all. And so, I was vulnerable. Sometimes I was flat out disobedient. Sometimes I knew God said that person is not who I have for you. That person's a good person, but they're not who I have for you. And I have, been blatantly disobedient because I liked the conversation. I liked the affection. I liked the attention. And as a widow, I have nothing else to compare it to but the loneliness of literally having a hole in your heart where somebody once was is overwhelming at times. And so, it was nice to have a nice person to talk to, and it was nice to date and go on dates and enjoy the company of someone. And there's nothing wrong with that part outside of, if it's in the will of God. And so I would find myself, I didn't date too often, but every time I did it ended in failure. It ended in me in tears saying, God, I'm sorry for disobeying you, or saying, God, I can't believe that I was that vulnerable. How did I not see those red flags that you showed me? Or how did I not see, God, my own behavior and my own flaws and the things that I need to work on? And I'll be very honest and super transparent. It has led to a lot of tears, a lot of disappointment, a lot of, God, I'm a good woman with a good heart. Why does this keep happening? It's bad enough that you took the absolute love of my life. It's bad enough that my husband died. He was my person. He was that person that got me. It's bad enough that was what happened. But God, I still trusted you, and I still praised you even in the midst of that. But now, God, my heart, I am healed, and I am free. Some things that was keeping me bound. Now, Lord, my heart is open and I'm ready. Lord, it's like I keep failing. And, I remember recently, just after just dealing with something, saying to God, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed, God. I'm embarrassed that I can't get this area of my life right. I'm embarrassed that I failed in that area. I'm embarrassed with some of the things that I tolerated. I'm embarrassed by my disobedience when sometimes I deliberately disobeyed. Not that I was fooled, not by anything like that. I knew better and I did not do better. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that after all these years, I'm still by myself. I'm embarrassed, with some of the choices I made as it relates to dating. I'm embarrassed when I didn't honor my word and my promise to God. I'm embarrassed. And I felt like a failure, right? And I even reached a point at one moment where I said, something, I'm just done. I'm just going to be by myself the rest of my life. It's cool. It's cool. Because I don't want to be lied to anymore. I don't want to be mistreated anymore. I don't want to do something where I'm in not in good standing with God. I don't want to dishonor God. I don't want to disobey God. And I just feel like I can't get it right. So because I can't get it right, I'm just not going to do it at all. And God had to explain to me that, something, Whitney, at the moment of your weakness, at the moment of your failure, that's where you need me the most. Because sometimes when you are doing good, right, and you're having some degree of success in certain areas of your lives, after a while you stop praying with as much fire as you did before, because you're starting to rely on yourself, right? If I've written 27 books, best-selling books, after a while I'm not going to pray. I may not be praying as much as I was when the first book came out, because I might think, oh, I got a rhythm. I got this, right? How many times have we done that? That after we get good at something, we stop depending on God. But at the moment of your failure, at the moment of your weakness, at the moment when you don't know what to do and you don't know how to fix it and you don't see how what God has promised you is going to come to pass, that is the moment that God can do the most work. He can do the most work in that moment. And he had to say to me, listen, Whitney, the only thing I already have spoken to you about in this area. I've already told you what my promise for you is in this area. But the problem is you're not trusting me. You're not trusting my timing. You're not trusting my selection. So you are, after a while, you're starting to try to create your own way. When it's been a few months or a few years, I remember at one point for 3 years straight, I didn't go on a single date. Not 3 years. And I was like, oh gosh, God, I feel like I'm so, am I not pretty enough? Am I not this enough? Or am I too much? Am I too independent? Am I too, whatever? You start to think those things, right? And so I was just like, no, God, what is it? What is it? What is it? And he's like, listen, you're not trusting me. What I said for you is already done. All you need to do is focus on yourself right now and getting yourself ready and focus on those areas of your life that I told you that you needed to work on, not to get somebody or to get something, but because I'm trying to mold you into the best version of yourself. I'm trying to take you to where I've designed for you to be. And you got to clear up some of these things. And so instead of focusing on how long it's been or what is happening or what has happened or what has not happened, you need to focus on me and on what I need you to do in this season, because I can change your circumstances like that. You have no idea what I have for you. You have no idea what I am, where I'm positioning you. But here's the thing. You have to be in position to get to what I have for you. So if you're over here unhealed, entertaining people that you don't need to entertain, doing things you don't need to be doing, not seeking me, just kind of doing you. And what I have for you, your destiny is over here. At some point, you have to understand that you're not going to get what I have over here if you are over here. You're going to have to make a move. You're going to have to trust that whether I answer the prayer today, whether I answer the prayer in 6 weeks, whether I answer the prayer in 4 years, that my answer is perfect and it will not delay and it will not be denied. But you have to be in position. You've got to do your part. And guess what? You have to be okay with failing. It's okay. It's okay. You got to be okay with failing. Listen, repent when it is necessary. Take the lesson when it is necessary. But you got to be okay to fail. It's okay. It's all right. I ain't the first person that's failed in this area. I ain't the last person that's failed in this area. It's okay because God's grace is sufficient. But what I cannot do is continue to make the same mistakes and expect different results. So the literal definition of insanity is the same thing over and expecting different results. So clearly something that I have been doing has not been working. The key to moving through your failure is that you have to recognize what you're doing is not working. It's not working. Me trying to, me not listening to God, me ignoring certain things, me just kind of being available, and not really paying attention to who I interact with because I'm a nice person, interacting here, there, and everywhere. That is not what God told me to do. So I have to look at what am I doing to contribute to my failure. It is not always Satan. It is not always the other person. If you have continuous failure in a certain area of your life, you failed here or you failed there, you have to also recognize that the common denominator in all of those things is you. So you have to be willing to say, okay, what is my part in this, God? Lord, I keep, entering or meeting the wrong people for me. Not that they are bad people, but they're not for me. So God, I keep failing in this area. What is my contribution to that? It's easy to say what the other person has done or didn't do. It's easy to hyper focus over there. But I'm in this thing too. So where is my point of wrong? Where did I get it wrong? What am I doing that is wrong? Or what is my responsibility in here? Is it that I'm not listening? Is it that Lord, show me me? Because I got eyes to see everybody else. I can tell you everything that's wrong everywhere else. But God, show me me. Where is my issue with failure here? And then, okay, God, so I'm at the point of failure. I don't know what to do. This is real. I'm being super. This was not even what I was planning to say today. But for me right now, me who last night, cried myself to sleep because my wedding anniversary is on Sunday and I'm still, missing the life that I had. And then I'm not feeling all that hopeful, for the future sometimes, right? Like, we have to be honest with ourselves that, sometimes we don't feel it, right? I would love, people would say to me, oh, Whitney, God has a man for you and for your boys, and he's going to be this. And I've gotten all these prophetic words. But, after a while, can I be honest? When a whole lot of time has gone by, when your dating situations haven't been what you hoped them to be, or, after a while, it gets easy to get discouraged. It gets easier to say, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Am I really ready for it? Lord, what did you really say? Because sometimes we think that God said something, and really it was just that we said it, and we are just asking God to co-sign it, right? So sometimes you have to get back to that. Okay, God, you know what? In my prayer last night, I said, Lord, I just want your will. I want your will. If your will is for me to be by myself, then God, I need you to give me everything that I need to do that with a grateful heart. If your will is for me to, at some point, be with someone else, I need you to prepare me and my family and my boys for that. Like, I just had to really pray. I had to pray, Lord, guard my heart, but help me not to harden my heart. Help me not to harden my heart, but guard it, God, because I don't want any more foolishness. I don't want any more, I don't want anything. Lord, I just want to be with you. I want to be so hidden in you that the person that you had for me has to go through you to get to me. I don't want to be, just here, there, and everywhere, God. I really, really want, I just want to be in your will, God, whatever that is. Even if it means the answer is no. Even if it means that I will cherish that time that I had with my late husband, even if that is my only experience of love. My God, thank you for those years. Even if that's all that I get, I am so thankful, because somebody else may not have gotten any. Even if that's all that I get, I at least can be at peace knowing that I was loved and loved well, and that I loved and loved well. So God, even if you don't have anything more, what you already have given me is enough. It's something about when you get raw with God. It's something about when you lay it at his feet and you just say, God, I'm taking my hands off of this thing. I'm taking my hands off of it because I fail so many times. It's obvious that I don't know what to do with it, but I serve a God that is all knowing. Jesus be knowing. And you know what's best, God. You know what's best for me. So I'm going to take my hands off of it. I'm at the point of my failure, which means I'm at the point of your grace. I am going to engulf myself in your presence, engulf myself in your word, engulf myself in you. I'm going to allow you to do what you need to do in me, period. Lord, if my perspective needs to change that. If my words need to change that. If my circle needs to change that. If whatever it is, if my practice is, if whatever it is, I need your grace, God. Your situation may not be like mine. May not be dealing with widowhood and all the things that come with this particular walk, because this is my walk. But you may be struggling with your point of failure in another area of your life. And here's the thing: if you're at the point of failure, you're also at the point of his grace. Lean into him. Give it to him. Be honest with him. God, this is what the struggle is. Listen, God already knows. Jesus already knows. That's the beauty of our relationship with him. He knows all of our dirt. He knows the dirt that we don't even know we're going to do later. And he is right here. He has given his life for us. He is right here like, daughter, I see you. I see you. Son, I see you. I see you. I'm right here and I know what's best. But I need you to give it to me. I need you to give that thing to me. I know you may have felt that God is calling you to have a business and you have failed business after business after business after business, or maybe it's a ministry, or maybe it's a book, or maybe it's an album, maybe I can tell you a million different things. We fail at all kinds of things, right? Maybe you're trying to break that habit, that addiction, and you're struggling. Here's the thing: at the point of failure is the point of grace. You have to attach yourself to his grace. You've got to give that thing to him. You've got to say, God, you know what? I can't do nothing with this, but you can, God. Lord, I don't know how to fix this, but you can, God. Lord, I don't know what to do, but you know, God. And so since you are all knowing, I'm going to lay at your feet. I'm going to give it to you. And I'm going to have an it is well position. that, Lord, whatever you do with it, I know what is best. It is well. I know you know best. I'm going to have a position that says, it doesn't matter what I have to go through to be who you have called me to be. I trust you. It's a position that says, it's okay that I failed. And it's okay. I don't have to be embarrassed by that anymore because your grace is sufficient. I don't have to hold my head down that I failed in that area. I don't have to let guilt and shame take over my life. I don't have to continue to replay mistake after mistake after mistake. I don't have to do that because you have given me your grace. So guess what? I can fail gracefully. I can say, yes, you know what? I did fail in that area, but let me show you what my God is about to do. Let me show you how my God is going to take me for my beauty for ashes. Let me show you how God is going to take the situation that I think is impossible and he's going to breathe a new life into it. Let me show you how my God is going to work through and he's going to heal me to a place that I won't even recognize myself. Generational healing is coming through my failure. There is too many different things that are happening right now. And so here's the thing. His grace is totally sufficient. His power is made perfect in our weakness. So guess what? If you are feeling like that, then you are in perfect position, but you got to use your mouth. You got to call that thing out to God. You got to tell God, listen, this is it, God. First of all, he already knows. He already knows whatever our area of trouble is. He already knows. We are not holding, some type of thing for him. We're not holding anything back from him or hiding from him. He already knows. So the fact that he already knows and he's still here says so much about him. So here's the thing. We know he's there. We know his grace is sufficient. So why are we still living in bondage? Why are we still living consumed by our failures? Why are we still living in the past? Why are we still living hopeless? We got to tap in. We got to love it. We got to love on him. We've got to praise and worship him despite how we feel, despite how it looks right now. We got to start acting like it's already done because it is. We have to start believing beyond what we can see. We have to start seeing things before we can see them. So if you can't see it in the spirit, how are you going to see it in the natural? You've got to start seeing things. Okay, God, well, you told me that I'm an author. And even though I'm sitting at this computer, I might have been sitting at this computer for the last 3 days and no words are coming on the paper, I'm going to keep showing up, God. And I'm going to keep believing, God, because I have to see it before I see it. I have to see the book before the book comes on the page. I have to see that you are faithful. God, if you told me I'm going to have children, I don't care how many negative pregnancy tests I have experienced. I don't care how many losses I have experienced. If this is the word that you have given me, I'm going to keep showing up according to your will because I know that what you said for me is going to pass. So I have to see myself before I see it. I got to see what God has said. In order for me to see it before I see it, I have to know him and know what he said. So you've got to tap into him. You got to call out to him, pour out to him, and then you've got to embrace his grace. Don't you dare have the grace of God around you, the grace of God in you, and reject it because you think that your failures are too much for him. No. Don't you dare reject the grace of God because you feel like you've messed up too many times or done too many bad things or you know what, God, I'm just not worthy. No, his grace is sufficient. His power is made perfect in your weakness. So if you are a hot mess, you are in position. Tap into his grace. Dare to believe him. Ask him for what truly is yours and ask him to prepare your heart for it. So many of us are believing God for things that we didn't check with God to see if they were ours. We didn't ask God if that was ours to have. So make sure you know what God says specifically to you. You got to talk to him. You got to read your word. You have to fast and pray. You have to seek godly counsel. Get the word from God that he has for you. Have enough grace to fail. Let go of that guilt and that shame. Don't be embarrassed, boo. It's okay. It is okay. We all have a chapter in our story that we don't read out loud. Don't be embarrassed that you may have failed once, twice, 37 times. Stay in the fight and stay trusting God because his grace is sufficient. Trust that he knows what is best for you. He knows. He hears us. He knows. I love that the word he gave me this week because it's perfect for the for what we have on. He knows. He knows. If you got nothing else from the She Heals Inspiration segment, please understand that God knows and he cares. And your failure is not too hard for him. His grace is more than sufficient. So tap into his grace and you will see the hand of God at work in your life. I pray that blessed you as we transition into the second half of the show. I am so excited. I just love when God allows me to just meet amazing people and connect with amazing people. And this woman of God is just that. Listen, y'all, I have been following. I was about to say She Heals. That's me. I've been following Jesus Be Known. I've seen it on Instagram. I don't even know when the first time I saw it. I saw somebody with it. And I was like, this line is amazing. And oh my gosh, the woman behind the line is even more amazing. So we want to welcome to the She Heals radio show, Miss Summer Theodore. Hello.
Hey, hello. Good
How
evening.
are you?
I'm doing amazing. How are you?
I am wonderful. I am. God is so good.
That was a great word you gave all of us prior to. I was listening before.
That was Jesus, because I was that wasn't me. If it was good, it was God. If it was a mess, it was me.
I love that. If it was good, it was God. And if it was a mess, it was me.
It was me. I didn't want to get it misconstrued, right?
Right.
Well,
right.
Sarah, I'm just so excited that you are here. And I am in love with your line. Oh my goodness. Jesus Be Knowing. And to everybody that may just tune into the She Heals radio show, if you go to JesusBeKnown.com and you spend $25 or more, use the discount code She Heals and you will get 15% off. So Summer, let's jump into Jesus Be Knowing. What was your inspiration? How did this come about?
Well, first, let me just say thank you, Whitney, for having me on this evening again. It's just been a pleasure. You and I, first connected a few days ago. We've been chatting for a while. And on DM and stuff like that. But we officially met like face to face, and it was so great. And but thank you again. And Jesus Be Known is my baby. It was born out of an idea because it was a phrase that I said so many times. And my friends, one of my accountability group, actually both of my accountability groups, they were like, you should put that on a t-shirt. And I say a lot of things that are catchy. And they would say, oh, you need to put that on the shirt. But this one, they were like, no, we need this on the shirt. And of course, I dismissed them. I said, whatever. Who's going to buy this on a shirt? Who wants this? And so they kept pressing me. This is like 2016. And then fast forward to Easter 2017, I finally said, okay, let's get some t-shirts made. And I got them made by a local printer, gave them to family and friends. We wore them to church on Easter Sunday and everyone loved them. And I always say, it's so funny that you said if it's a mess, it was me, because I had all of that, like, oh, I love the shirt. I want to buy the shirt. Where can I get the shirt? And then I got scared and I stopped. I didn't even go forward with the line.
We do that all the time.
We received confirmation. God tells us to go do something. You're not obedient. You decide to rely on your own strength and not lean on your faith. And I went ahead and sat on this line. Guys, I kid you not, until November of 2019 is when I actually launched it. And thank God, from Easter of 2017 to November of 2019, that he held on this dream of mine for me. And so, now we have it here.
Wow. What a word. What a word. We do it all the time. So many of us will have something and God is like lining it up, right? Like he's all the things that the steps are in place and things are just lined up. And we're like, oh no, no. I'm afraid.
Not me, God.
Not me. I'm not about to do that.
Right.
And we sit on it. And you just said something that was profound, that you said that he held on to it for me. How many of us have sat on something? God won't always do that, right?
Listen, my girlfriend Rashida Banks, she says it to me. She said it to me before. She says it all the time. God will listen. God's not waiting on you to decide that you are ready to do something, because he will give it to someone else. He will give you a gift and an idea. And if you don't act on it accordingly, he can give it to someone else because his agenda is for his kingdom. And he doesn't have the time for you to, oh Lord, I don't know if I should do this. He already gave you the confirmation. He just wants you to go. He wants you to be obedient. But sometimes he shows us grace that we don't even deserve. And he'll hold on to it until we're ready. But thank God he did that for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so let's just talk a little bit about, I mean, we clearly know the shirt, it speaks for itself, but just talk a little bit about your heart, the message behind the line.
The message is really just, I wanted something that reminded folks daily, because we even have these wristbands that I wear, and it's such a great reminder. Yay! It's such a great reminder that he is always with us. He knows best. And that we should just really carry on whatever he asks us to do. And a lot of times, it doesn't matter if something great happens. You're like, Jesus be knowing, yes, I got the job. Or, if it's something even on the other side of it where, something terrible happens. And we may not agree with it, but we'll see eventually Jesus be knowing, and he understands that all the time we may not agree with his will, but his will be done. And at the end of the day, that's what we have to lean on. And oftentimes, 100% of the time, not often, 100% of the time, Jesus knows better than we do. So it's just it's a confirmation on your chest and on your wrist or wherever you want to wear it, even in your heart, that God has you all the time, no matter what the situation that you're in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What a word. Yes. I think sometimes it can be so easy. The message of God is so simple, right? We complicate it, but we complicate it. But his message is so simple. He's all knowing. All he wants us to do is to give us him, or to give him us. That's it. That's all he wants us to do, and it's not that hard. And so even that, something that just as simple as saying "Jesus be known" is so profound, because it's the reminder that we all need. It's this week, just as a black woman, raising black sons. I know you have a son.
Yes.
I was looking at Jesus like, sir, do you see what's happening in our society right now? Like, it's overwhelming. It's every day. I'm starting to now, I'm forgetting some of the names because there's so many to keep up with. And it's one of those, I need that reminder that Jesus knows.
Yeah, for sure. I share that sentiment with you. Initially, I will not lie. I tried to avoid the news. And then by, I believe, Tuesday, I was in tears holding my son while he slept in my arms, because he'll be 2 in June. And I can't imagine if in 18 years, the same thing may happen to him. And, unfortunately, this is our reality, but we have to also understand that although God is in control, he also blessed us with free will. And so that means human error will always be a factor, and human, their desire or whatever their thoughts are about our Black skin. Unfortunately, that's something we're going to have to deal with. But I do believe that he is tired of the way we're treating each other. And I believe it's bubbling up so much that if we do not actually go after this racism issue that we have, because it's happening in all different pockets, whether it's our everyday lives, to the healthcare system, to jobs, it affects us everywhere. If we do not handle it, he will. And I don't know if anyone wants to really see the way God wants to handle this. So, I just try to stay prayed up. I just continue to keep those families in our prayers, and also try to take action on my end that I can do, whether it's donations, getting the word out, or sometimes just taking a rest and just taking care of ourselves, because we live in our Black skin every day. Okay. We understand, what it is to be Black. We understand the palpitations and the heart flutters that you feel if you're about to pass a police officer and potentially maybe pulled over. We understand that every day. And just sometimes choosing joy is an act of rebellion. Just choosing joy and being kind to other Black people and to your family and to yourself it's an act of standing up for our rights and what we believe in. So, do whatever you can in the smallest of ways, but first take care of yourself.
I could not agree more. And I feel like when we remember who we are and to whom we belong, it makes having a position of peace easier, right?
Yes.
You remember that, okay, God, I'm yours.
Right. Yeah.
I'm yours. And, it just changes the way that we see certain things. And so, of course, we have those emotional moments, where whatever we're going through, we have those moments. We got to take the hit, right? It still hurts.
Right. It does.
It still hurts.
It doesn't make it hurt any less, but it does mean we can get through it,
Absolutely. I always say, it's easy to show up for a fight when the fight is fixed. Right?
Oh,
it's easy to show up. If I know that God already told me ahead of time, I'm heading into this fight. Listen,
and I'm going to win.
But I'm
you're
gonna
come in here. You're gonna come in like a winner. You're gonna come in cocky. You're gonna be like, listen, I got this. Let me roll my sleeves.
Right. But guess what? I still gotta fight though, and I might still get hit. Right, it's part of the journey. And so I think it's super important that we know who we belong to and what he's saying. And if we don't know, ask him. That's the best part about God. Is he?
We forget that. Yeah, I think that's a great reminder, Whitney. I think we forget to simply ask. I think we forget to simply just ask, because sometimes he's sitting right there like, okay, well, I'm just waiting for the invitation.
Right. He's such a gentleman.
He is.
He's such a gentleman.
He really is.
He's just waiting, but he needs us to sit at his feet. And I think that to me, just when I would see your line, and even just in meeting you and talking to you, it's just evident that message is so needed right now. And the work that you're doing is so needed right now, because we just need to know that he's still here.
Yeah.
And that he still sees. Sometimes we forget that, like, he still sees. And when we hurt, he hurts.
Yeah.
He's not turning a blind eye to what's happening. It might feel that way.
Oh no. It may feel that way, but he is not. He is not. And don't think that he is one bit happy with what is going on right now. I totally agree with you. He definitely sees all of this in his hearts. He bleeds for us. He has compassion and grace as well. And he feels badly that I believe he feels badly that we have to go through this. He doesn't want to see his people hurting,
Absolutely. So it's just the perfect reminder for this time, is that he knows. And so let's just, as we are just kind of chatting about Jesus Be Known, again, listen, if you're not seeing it on the screen, use the discount code She Heals for 15% off your purchase of $25 or more now through Sunday at midnight. And all you have to do is go to JesusBeKnown.com. Follow them on Instagram as well, so you can keep in tune with all the latest styles and colors and all that stuff. But let's talk about the business part of this, because it's it's one thing when God gives you a vision and you start working the vision, and it's like, okay, so you said before you kind of sat on it for like 2 years, and then God was like, okay, now come on, girl.
Okay, he's like, what we gonna do?
Oh, ma'am, let's get this line. Let's talk about the logistics. How did you get started? And just for all of the entrepreneurs that are listening right now, and maybe their thing is the not accepting what to do. Now I'm ready to move forward, but what do I do?
Yeah, I think that that's the hardest part, is to start. It's so funny that you asked me this question, because one of my accountability groups, we meet on Thursdays, and last night the ladies and I were chatting, and there was a few of the ladies that are in our group are looking to start different ventures, pivot, and things like that. And we were just like encouraging them to just start. But everybody's like, well, how do I do that? And I think sometimes it's simply, one, if you have a vision, you need to tell someone about it. Because when you're in a silo, if you're in your head about it, you can sit there with yourself all day with the vision and never challenge yourself to put it out there. And I think once you actually verbalize it and tell your best friend or tell social media, it actually makes it real. And it's like, oh, now I have to
I
like
do this.
literally move on this thing because someone is going to be looking for it. So
Yeah.
one, I always say, tell someone about it because God wants us to be in community for a reason. And part of it is accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability is something that we desperately need, and we also need support. You have to tell someone that you trust. I always believe in you tell your close circle first, and then you say, okay, let me create the social media. I always say, let's do the free things first, the real easy things. Get the wins, get a win under your belt. Grab your social media handles, all of them. Grab your Twitter, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Pinterest. Then go ahead and grab your URL. URLs are very cheap. I know a lot of people may think they cost a lot of money. They really don't. They could be as cheap as $10, $15, or whatever. You find a host, and do that. Then do some research in your industry that you're going to be in. Do some research, look at your competitors, see how they're working things, but also write down your own vision. I think it's very important to write down what your mantra for or your motto for your brand is going to be and what you would like for it to exude. What is the message that you want everyone to receive? What is it that you want them to feel when they come to your social media or your website? Because you want them to feel a certain energy about your brand so that they can gravitate towards it. And then I always say, what is the cheapest way we can get this off the ground? Like with my t-shirt company, I literally started it with $500. People always look at me like, what? And I'm like, yes. And a lot of my friends did the same thing that started t-shirt companies. And so I found a local printer. I started out very basic with white and black t-shirts, like just do like the bare minimum first. And as you grow and evolve, flip your money and put it back into the company so you can grow. But I want you to get those small wins under your belt first. It'll make you propel. Like, I feel like I say, hey, and then, grab your design work. All that stuff is fun. But I don't want anyone to get caught up on the perfection piece because we want to do progress over perfection. The perfection piece will have us in something for so long. You go always say, oh, this needs to be a different color. This line needs to be thinner. This needs that. And then you'll never launch,
True.
So just don't get caught up in your head with the perfection piece. Get it as clean and as pretty or beautiful or however you want to describe it as possible. And put it out there. We don't want, just to put anything out there. But if it's not perfect, I always say, if it's 80%, you're good. Because no one's probably going to even notice the other 20 that you have to work on. You just keep working on it as you go. Your brand will never be 100%. That may also help somebody. It's never going to be 100% perfect. You're always evolving and growing, just like we are as people. We're never going to reach this epitome or this enlightenment or this tower or this. I feel like a lot of us, and me included, I thought I was going to like one day just get to the mountaintop and that was it. And then I could relax. No. As long as you're here on this earth, we're always evolving and growing and changing. So if you had that in your mind, then you will understand like, hey, this brand is always going to grow and change with me as well. And so just put it out there. Absolutely. People like the journey. They like to see you grow and evolve. They like to go on the journey with you.
Absolutely. And I think that what you just said is so profound for so many reasons. So many of us, you like you just said, you're looking at that one thing, that mountaintop moment, and not understanding that is just not, that's actually limiting God.
It is, because you have multiple mountaintops.
That's right.
God gets you to this because he's always only going to let you see what he knows you can handle. So he'll let you see the base of the mountain first. Then when you get to the middle of the mountain, he'll let you see a little bit more of the mountain. When you get to the top of the middle of the mountain, then he'll let you see the peak. When you get to the peak, you're like, whoa, I made it. You might get some applause, maybe an award. And then you'll look to see, oh, there's another part of the mountain.
I'm at the beginning of another place, right? And so with that, and even tying into what the Lord was sharing, gave me to share earlier, failure is naturally part of that. It's a natural part of the process. Girl, listen, it is. So just talk about how you pushed through when things weren't going the way you planned.
With therapy, it has helped me to understand. And let me tell you, therapy is amazing. It's an amazing tool. It is, let me say this again, it's a tool. It gives you tools that we did not have. It's just like going to the doctor and they giving you a prescription for something that you have going on with your body. It's a tool that helps you get better. And therapy is such a great tool. And a lot of times with failure with me, I tried to avoid it or go around it. But then I had to realize you're not going to get through this. You're not going to do anything with this unless you get through it. You have to go through failure. You have to. And once we embrace that concept first, I think it makes it a little bit easier to navigate it. And it doesn't make it like, oh my God, first of all, who wants to fail? No one does. We wish we could always be right. We wish we could always do the right thing, make the right decision, but it will hinder you. I promise you, I have delayed so much being in my head, scared of the failure, when I have a lot of people around me who are failing loudly. The thing is, you just want to fail fast. The idea is every time you want to fail faster. Okay, I failed. Great. What is it the way we can fix this? How can I pivot? Okay, great. That fixed that. Let me go. Oh, shoot. I'm going to fail again. How can I fix this a little faster? You know what I mean? That's what you want to do.
Keep it.
Yeah, you just want to keep it moving, but you understand you have to go through it. There's no way that any of the Oprahs and the Tyler Perrys and anyone else that may be on your board of people that you admire didn't go through failure. There's things that we don't even know about that they probably tried to launch and it failed. Or maybe they did launch it and we saw it for a second and it was a blip and it's gone and you may even forget they did it. But the fact is they tried. Failure is just showing you that you're at least trying the thing. You're trying different things and you're here, you're human and you're just doing it. And you're allowing other people to fail and see, okay, she failed. So what? He failed. So what? Yeah, did you not fail today? Like, it's okay. Like, no one can judge you. This is your story. This is your journey. And it's going to help someone out there to see that you're going through the failure versus trying to get around it, because it just prolongs it. It makes it longer and it makes it a lot harder to even deal with or get through it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And honestly, I feel like God focuses more of his attention on how we conduct ourselves when we fail than the actual failure itself.
Yeah.
So it's
Come on.
How did you handle it? Yeah, like I think he's looking
at
how did we handle the failure? How did we look at the story of Job, after all of those hits, all of those losses, how he did himself. That's what matters. That's what matters. That's what speaks to our character. That's what speaks to our ability to press through and get to that mountaintop, is how do we see it and I ain't doing this again.
Right. And I agree with that, because a lot of the greats I feel like that we follow and that we love, a lot of times, of course, failure doesn't feel great, but if someone comes to them and if employee of theirs comes to them and say, oh my goodness, I messed such and such up. Okay, great. How can we fix it? That's typically how they are. How can we fix it so we can just get past it? Right. And then when you realize it, like, oh, it's not a big deal. No, because you're human. We're not God. We're not Jesus. We're not the Holy Spirit. Those are, you know what I mean? Like it's human error. It's going to happen.
Yeah. I just think it's important that, we just hang in there, and keep going. And, and I think one of the other things that I wanted to ask you about is, sometimes, whenever we are trying to do something new, right? When God, I always say that whenever the enemy starts doing something new, like an unexpected attack, I tend to get encouraged, because I know if the enemy's doing something new, God is doing something new too, right?
Yes.
And so I'm sure that there was those times, throughout your initial launch where you were just like, that voice, that we all have, that's like, what you doing?
Yeah.
Do this? Are you sure? Why are you spending money on this? Why are you doing this? What do you do to kind of counteract that voice? Because it happens to all of us, right? How do you counteract that voice?
Whew, Whitney, that's such a great question, because I've been going through it. Actually, this last 2 weeks, I've been working on the website refresh for JBK, and I feel like every time I've tried to finish the site, I have gotten these horrible sinus headaches. And so I started when things like just, oh, we're so kindred spirits. When the same plane that you just said, whenever I feel like this stuff starts happening, I'm like, this site is about to bring how much money is about to come through with this new website? Because my gosh, you are working hard to keep me from finishing it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that encourages me, and that will encourage me. But also I literally have to stop and pray sometimes. Like literally just stop in your tracks and say, God, today I'm having a rough day. This is rough. I can see you through this, but it's very just hard for me to, take the next step or do the next thing. And I just ask you to help for your help. Like you said earlier, sometimes he just wants to be asked.
Yeah.
And so I have to remember to stop and pray, because oftentimes we'll get in our head and we'll get all upset and flustered. But when the moments that I say, you know what, I'm out of order, let me just stop and pray in my tracks. Right. Let me just stop and pray. Right. And then, sometimes just even writing out the plan to get out of the situation helps, just to get it out on paper, or even chatting with a close friend, family member, just to like go through it. Sometimes you need to just vent. That can help as well. And God understands all of those things. He gives us all these tools. And then of course, therapy also, sometimes it's not that big. Sometimes when you talk to someone else, they can help you break it down in a easier digestible way to let you know, oh, this isn't as big as I think it is. Right. So yeah, those tools right there have helped me get through those moments.
That is absolutely incredible. If you are listening right now to the She Heals Radio Show, I just pray that you are soaking up this word, whatever it is. We're all designed to do many things, right? I think sometimes we forget that God doesn't just give us one thing. I believe that he gives us one thing as a base to build onto other things, right?
Yeah.
So
I agree.
He gives us one thing, and we start that one thing, and we start to master that one thing, and then he continues to kind of build from there. And so I think we all have to remember that there's enough grace. God doesn't run out of grace for us. He doesn't run out of grace. And because he is all knowing, he doesn't, he's not limited to time or space, which means he knew the stressful day that you were going to have before you knew it. He knew the opposition that you were going to face before you did. And so he's right there with us. And sometimes, we tend to, church culture, overcomplicates God. We overcomplicate it. We feel like you got to do all of these things and not taking away from the things that we do to, by fasting and praying and the things that we do to really get close with God. But don't knock the fact that you could literally be in the shower and let one tear roll down your face and God has counted that prayer. Don't knock the fact that you can just say Jesus and that's enough. Like, don't knock the fact that you don't have to wait and get up at 5 a.m. and spend an hour in prayer and worship. And listen, you can be taking a quick bathroom break while you're at work.
Okay.
Have a quick conversation with God that is just as effective. So just know that he knows. Yeah. I know we're talking about Jesus be knowing, but he does.
It's so real. You don't realize how much it really is ingrained in our lives until you see the message and you're like, oh my goodness. And I have friends and family that reach out to me now. Like, oh, my girlfriend the other day had an appointment at the doctor's office, and she was a little nervous. And, she's a Christian. She believes in God, but we all get nervous. He understands that. And so she said, she sent me a picture, and she said, I was sitting there in a waiting room, and I looked down at my wrist, and I saw my bracelet that said Jesus be knowing. And it just eased all of my ease all of my nervousness. And I literally almost busted out in tears, because those little confirmations that he gives just lets me know that I'm on the right journey and path as well. And it's just it's the message. It's the message. It's not about t-shirts and wristbands and things like that. These are tools, guys, to just remind you that God is always with us. Yeah. And sometimes you just need that little reminder each day.
Amen. Amen. Summer, this has been wonderful.
I know. I cannot believe our time is up.
I told you to go by so fast, but you are definitely back. Yes, we will just have to chat, but just thank you so much. Again, I am talking to Summer Theodore from Jesus Be Knowing. So listen, get on her site. Follow her on Instagram, Jesus Be Knowing. Go on
Yes.
JesusBeKnowing.com. If you spend $25 or more, use the discount code She Heals and get 15% off now through Sunday at midnight. Do it now. Just go now and
Yes.
get your
Just go do it now.
I am
Join our neighborhood. We call each other neighbor like you do in church.
Yes.
Like, hey neighbor, you know. So
Connect
just
with
come
her.
on over. It's a wonderful tribe.
Absolutely. And
Educate game.
That you are going to sell out this weekend. I'm just believing for overflow for you. That is my prayer. That is my prayer.
I receive it.
It is done. So I just want to thank Summer Theodore for being on the show. Shout out to our super producer Q, sending all love to my Awesome God Radio family and for everybody that is listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. In closing, she thinks, she feels, she prays, she cries, she trusts, she gets stronger, she fights, and ultimately she heals. This is the She Heals Radio Show with your host, Whitney J. Have a blessed Friday, a blessed weekend. See you back next Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care. God bless.